Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Ask an Artist. On behalf of the Briscoe Western Art Museum, welcome. My name is Ryan Badger. I'm not at the museum, but at present I am at home. I'm the curator of collections and excited to talk to you today a little bit about some of the artists, the backgrounds, the inspirations from our artists for our current exhibition, Night of Artists, our signature event at the museum. So we're on with Chad Poppleton. Chad, we want to share your experience, the artist experience, with our online visitors, and later on when the show opens with live visitors. So just kind of a opening question: what really got you into the art field? Like, led you to becoming a professional artist?
I've always done this, honestly. Ever since I was just little, I honestly just drew and painted my whole life. My dad was into illustration and art, and we had a ranch and a dairy farm also, but my dad's an incredibly talented artist, illustrator, and everything to him was art. And so I was just kind of brought up into it. You know, I've always just loved animals and wildlife especially. Art basically was an avenue for me to express my love.
Where do you get some of the subjects? How do you go about finding a subject for your work?
Here's our valley. You can look around. It's just a gorgeous day, snow-capped in spring. So all these things have been an influence for me just for life. And so that's just kind of how I found it.
If you're a member of the CAA,
right,
or the Cowboy Artists of America, how do you think that helps your ability to create realistic scenes?
Growing up and looking at the CAs, then becoming a CA, it's honestly a lifelong dream. I have to admit, though, I never thought that I'd ever get in. I was friends with a lot of guys that were CAs a few years before me. That friendship, I guess carried me in there, and I feel like a solemn responsibility, honestly, to carry on the traditions of Western art authentically to my experience and my take. It just felt natural. It feels right. I feel good in there. The guys are just wonderful. I feel like I'm painting what I'm supposed to be painting and doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Now, it seems like you've had a lot of experience working with artists, being friends with artists, and been influenced by artists. I guess I look at your work and I see a lot of influence or kind of hearkening back to Charles Marion Russell. And who else would be an influence to you as an artist? Who else do you look to as these master figures of the Western art world?
Oh, well, undoubtedly Charlie Russell, Frederick Remington, and Frank Tenney Johnson. I mean, I could go on and on. We all know the greats, their impact that they had, the timelines, the tools that they had. A lot of contemporary great guys. I just love their take on art. And Western artists like, James Reynolds, big heartthrob of mine, and Frank Tenney also. Just studying their work and looking at it is probably the critical thing.
Well, tell us a little bit about the work. I'm gonna try and see if I can bring up some of your work from Night of Artists this year.
Yeah, there's a fun little thing in life of being involved. A lot of cowboys in the wilderness, cowboys, outfitters, and pack guys are always having some happenstance, dramatic moments in the mountains. This piece was inspired from a friend that was, he was on an elk hunt, and they were coming out, and as they were coming out of the backcountry, some wolves would follow them all the way out. And he said it was just kind of haunting. They would stay in the trees and just out of sight. And wolves have that way, just kind of appearing and like they were being escorted out of their lands. And so I thought that's kind of funny. And knowing horses and breaking colts, you'll always get some of those things. And so I wanted to interject a personality of each horse, their reaction to those things. Like, the guy up front in the middle's horse is kind of acting up and getting a little bit antsy and wanting to take off. The one behind him, has got his feet and legs braced and ready to jerk back and pull him. The tension between the rope and the cowboys that is the critical crux of the piece, I guess. And then the guy in the back's just got the old standby solid gray gelding that just has seen it all.
Yeah.
Just mellow and
Nothing
chill,
bothers him.
pulling a colt, and then one of the other pack horses isn't quite sure what she's going to do. And so horses have a personality unique of each and every one of them, like people.
Mhm.
And some are flighty and some are mellow. And that was the main point of the piece, is what would they be thinking if they had some, wild animal escorting them out of their place,
Given the time in the world, how are you dealing right now with COVID-19?
Basically how we're dealing with it, is we're doing our best to do our social distancing, being very vigilant. Kind of being an artist, I'm a little bit more of a recluse anyways in the studio. And then, so I can hole up in the studio and get a lot of work done right now. Also, I can get outside and work on the farm, by myself or with my kids. And with my kids out of school, they've been doing their homework. I've really been surprised by just teaching my boys that value of being good citizens and helping out. That's how we're dealing with it. And, it's a pandemic right now, but it'll pass. We'll get through it. We're Americans, and we hope that we can lead the world in helping them get better too.
Well, Chad, thank you so much. Appreciate your time. Appreciate you. But yeah, we'll hopefully get to chat with you a little bit more on down the road here.
My compliments to being involved in such a good show. What a fantastic work in there. It's just blows me away to look on the web and see all the images of the work. And I'm very honored to be a part of it. And thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. You take care, friend.
Yeah.